Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley Ball, and we are back and better than ever. You are here for Live 360 Know Before You Go, and today is the AI track. We're going to specifically talk about the AI track. We're going to break that down a little bit, and we're going to have some fun while we're doing so. We're also going to answer any questions that you may have specifically about the conference. We had a wonderful live stream 2 weeks ago where we talked about the event, we talked about the location, we talked about where you need to go to be able to get to the event. And then we had one wonderful question that came in specifically on the comments. We will address that in a moment. But first, let me introduce my colleagues. I am joined by Mr. Thomas LaRock, MVP extraordinaire, and also my good buddy, the mountain man, Mr. Dan Taylor from Tales from the Field. Gentlemen, how are things going? We just got off Labor Day not too long ago. How was your Labor Day weekend? Did you do anything fun about 2 weeks ago?
I don't even remember. When was that?
I didn't wear white after Labor Day. Isn't that a thing? I don't know.
This is actually a tealish blue, but it looks kind of like a white t-shirt.
I think I mowed my lawn, so it was a good day. Yeah.
It was good. Didn't even have to use your AK. It must have been a good day. All right. So a little bit later in the broadcast, we're going to be joined by Mr. Andrew Brust. I'm sure he appreciated the Ice Cube reference just a moment ago. Andrew Brust. Andrew is the CEO of Blue Badge Insights. He's a super knowledgeable and wonderful person. He's a wonderful writer as well, very prolifically out there for many different magazines covering and staying up to date with the events within the Microsoft data sphere. Tom, as we're looking at this, of course, there's always an overlap between AI and data. Anything in particular that you want to share looking at the AI track?
Oh, I guess the first thing I would say is you can expect to hear the word co-pilot at least once or twice during the event. However,
I would hope so.
Yeah. I think you're going to hear that along with chatbots and everything else and generative AI and LLMs. But yeah, there is some overlap. It's really, it's almost like data fabric itself, right? There's just a lot of plumbing that goes on with the ingesting of data, the processing of it, the consumption of it, right? So, but we have those two tracks. We have a data platform track, and then we have an artificial intelligence track. And so in the AI track, I think you're going to find more stuff about LLMs specifically that you won't get in the data platform track.
I completely agree. Well, that would be my hope. I hope that we're hearing about LLMs, and we should almost give everybody an AI bingo card, right?
Right.
When you hear the following phrases, you get to check it off.
Open AI. Does that sound square, or is that the free one? That's the free one.
I was going to say OpenAI, maybe Copilot. Copilot could be the free square.
Yeah.
No,
large language models, small language models. Oh no, sorry. slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. Look, I have no clue what this Copilot thing is. You're all talking about. I'm oblivious to it. It's unknown to me.
Well, that's probably good for your career at Microsoft, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. We're not at all heavily invested in AI.
It's launching without knowing it. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead, and what we'll do is let's go ahead and look at the schedule that we've got a little bit. So first off, we've got a couple things. On Sunday, there are hands-on labs. And as we all know, we're doing a hands-on lab. We're doing a Microsoft Fabric hands-on lab for the data platform track. But if you're interested in artificial intelligence, these are the two hands-on labs that are available to you. There is a 2-day hands-on lab, actually, that will be going on Sunday and Monday with Eric Boyd getting started with Python. And then it looks like on Sunday specifically, there will be Lino Tandros giving us a hands-on lab for generative AI for the enterprise. So I don't know if we want to click on the, do we want to dive a little deeper? This is our first time going into another track. Tom, what's your thoughts?
I think I want to look. I'm looking at the agenda myself, just trying to get an idea of the AI specific events, because Live 360 is what, 6 events in one. So you got to get into
Absolutely.
the agenda, and then you got to filter, and you got to look at the stuff that's AI. One other aspect of the overlap between data platform or data and AI in general, I noticed there's a session here on responsible AI. So ethics and things of that nature. Those are where the AI track is where discussions like that would take place. But it's certainly applicable to anybody on the data platform side that has an interest in data governance.
Absolutely. So when we look at this, it's important to remember, as you were saying, when we start this off, if we go up to the top of the screen, you can see Visual Studio Live, Data Platform Live, Tech Mentor, Artificial Intelligence Live, Cloud and Containers Live, Cybersecurity and Ransomware Live. And so as we look at the agenda, there's a couple key things for every day of the week, regardless of what track it is that you want to do. And it's important to remember when you're at the conference, and the main conference begins on Tuesday. When you're there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can enter into any of these tracks. Anything that you see that is interesting to you on the schedule, as an attendee, you get to go and you get to participate in. So when we talk about the multiple different conferences that you have available to you, it's wonderful to have these different conferences available to you, and to be able to specifically do that. So since I've got this open, let's go ahead. Let's look at these two pre-con hands-on labs that we've got. So with Eric Boyd, Eric has a 2-day intro to Python. So if one of the things you're looking at doing is how to utilize Python specifically within artificial intelligence, it looks like this is where you're going to be able to get started, or you're going to be able to go more in depth. So if Python is the choice for your environment, and you're specifically looking at how do we utilize this, how do I get some training to be able to get people up to speed, because we want to use Python, and we want to use Python with LLMs, or we're going to call it from our applications. It looks like this is what you would do. And so he's got an outline for day one. He's got some requirements. Key thing to keep in mind for hands-on labs, you got to bring a laptop. I've seen people with hands-on labs before come in there with just a notebook and a piece of paper. That's not going to be what you're going to do. You're actually going to want to be able to go in there, use your computer, because the goal is that you're going to get hands-on with some of the technology. And then it looks like we have Linos Tendores, and he has generative AI for the enterprise. And so if we come over here and we look at their abstract, what will be covered in depth into LLMs and its purpose, prompt engineering, tools that can help with AI chatbots, discussions on orchestrations, looking at the semantic kernel and LangChain. Those are two very popular things. Last year, I had a session. Everything that possibly could go wrong with LangChain and semantic kernel went wrong in my session. That actually prompted me to create a couple videos on how you troubleshoot LangChain and how you troubleshoot issues with the semantic kernel. Also, why we want to use version specifics for object models in production, because when these things get updated on a monthly basis, if you haven't tested that code out in your dev test environment properly, you need to do that before you push to other environments. So it's very key and very important. So it's good that we're covering these two things, and those are the most often, I would say, the ways that I see people interacting with LLMs, unless it's through a co-pilot or something like an AI skill that just went into public preview with Fabric. We've got a video up about that. But behind the scenes, what we're doing is we're making a call to an LLM model with a RAG pattern of a database. And that's typically what you're doing at these, is you're looking at how you can use your own data to be able to provide some insights, some intelligence with the process that you're going to be able to utilize. And so, and it looks like within this pre-con, the different types of architectures they're utilizing are retrieval augmentation language modeling, retrieval augmentation generation. That's that RAG pattern I was just talking about a moment ago. Reasoning and action patterns, and then chain of thought patterns. Very, very.
So, well, Pred is retrieval augmented generation there. He's asking the question away. Tom, if you can't find me in the sessions that we're working on for the pre-cons, I think I'm going to be in Eric Boyd's session, because that intro to Python looked really good. I think we ought to bring just everybody over there for that one.
Wait, what day is his? Is his on Monday as well?
I
Oh,
think his is on Sunday and Monday as well, and we're doing
uh,
the Sunday one for the fabric, and then yourself, Brad, and myself are doing the other session on Monday. And it looks like we have Brad back, folks. It looks like the rag pattern
Hey
has.
guys, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet today, but this is a wonderful time for it to drop. An absolutely fantastic time. I didn't have any demos prepared, so sharing the screen
yeah.
is the demo. So of course the internet decided, oh no, you don't. Oh no, you don't. All right, so that takes us to Sunday. Now Eric Boyd is covering on Sunday, Monday. So if we come back up to the schedule, we take a look at Monday, we can see Eric Boyd, of course, has his 2 day. And then Brian A. Randall has a workshop, Copilot Engineering for Everywhere, and
Mhm.
Mickey Gossett. So let's see. So what are Mickey and Brian talking about? It looks like artificial intelligence is here to say. We've got Brian actually coming up in November, so we'll have to remember to get him to talk about the pre-con that he's got coming up at that point in time. And so it looks like they're looking at participants will not only learn how to look at the fundamentals of LLMs and services like ChatGPT, but also how to integrate these types of powerful language models into their applications, opening new possibilities for interactive and intelligent user experiences. I always got to love it when I just get to read the marketing, right? That's what I have to do.
You do such a good job at it.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. So, what will you learn? These are the bullet points to take away. What is
Yeah.
the current state of the art LLMs? How to use Microsoft and open source tools to build your own Copilot, and how to enhance your engineering practices using GitHub Copilot in your IDE via GitHub Enterprise Cloud interactive development environment.
Yeah. If people haven't been doing that already, it's amazing when you're working in something like VS Code and you can just interact and say, your Python VS Code, and you go, you know what? I need to create a data frame and do these things, and 28 lines of code come out, and it's mostly correct, and you just have to tweak a little bit. You're just so much more productive. You know what you
Absolutely.
need. You know how to ask for it, and you can recognize if the code's going to work or not. I can't remember every line of Python, right? I can't remember all of it. I just I know the concepts. I understand the language and what I have to work with. But yeah, if you're not using tools in your IDE right now to help speed up productivity, you're missing out.
One of the things, and look, I'm going to make a shameless self promotion, but it is our channel, so I get to do that. We have multiple videos where I've walked through how we utilize LangChain and how we do that within Microsoft Fabric, how we use the semantic kernel. One of the things I would say is the semantic kernel videos that I have for Microsoft Fabric, I'm just using Fabric as the IDE. As the
Right.
GUI interface to be able to make the API call. The tenets are still the same whether I did this in a Python application, C sharp, or whether I did it in Java, whatever it is that I want to do this in, making the API call, passing the information to the model, being able to tokenize information and pass that along, that's going to be the same no matter what environment you want to do it. So if you go through the semantic kernel video series that we have, and even the troubleshooting with with LangChain as well, and I also put the troubleshooting in there a troubleshooting video for the semantic kernel because that's one of the things people need to keep in mind when you go into using these, even Hugging Face, whatever it is, whatever model it is you want to use, whatever language you're calling it in, you can specify that version of the model. And I cannot emphasize enough how important that is because when you get into production and you keep in mind, LangChain changes daily. I mean, think about that from a release standpoint. It has a version release every single day that is pushed out. That means from early in the day to later in the afternoon, whenever you get your changes ready and you start pushing them out, that may change underneath the covers throughout the day. And so that's definitely something that you want to keep in mind when you're working with this through production. And I see Andrew's joined us. Hey, Andrew,
I
great to
am.
have you here, sir.
Just in time appearance. How are you all?
Absolutely. I was going to say the just in runtime. Um, we are making our way slowly and surely through the schedule, but if you want, you are the conference chair. Before we go back, we have looked at the pre-cons on Sunday. the 2-day that Eric Boyd has. We went over to Monday. We looked at those pre-cons. We're about to get to the schedule on the main start on Tuesday. But anything you'd like to say about the chair or about the track in general?
Yeah, so for when we do this big shindig in Orlando, I am both kind of honored and a little bit burdened to be co-chair for Visual Studio Live and Data Platform Live, as we are calling it, starting this year, and AI Live. So that gives me a lot of thoughts on how these things tie together, and
That's a
because in
lot of
all other,
live.
It's a
yeah,
lot.
exactly. And in all other cities, you know, we're nominally we're just Visual Studio Live, but we still try and get in as much data and AI as we can, but it's never enough. And in Orlando, we have lots of elbow room for all the content. And I'm happy about that. But the, you know, Visual Studio Live is still kind of the centerpiece in a way, and which really means that uh, enterprise developers are really our focus. So how do you do an AI show for enterprise developers? And how do you, I mean, it's not as big a stretch to say, how do you do a data platform show? Because for enterprise developers, because that's really what data is all about. But that's our challenge. And with AI, it was an especially interesting challenge because we started AI Live before the current advent of generative AI and all the hoopla that that's engendered. We started just in the world of machine learning.
Mhm.
So, you know, I think what's important to understand is that we're not doing AI for the sake of AI hype. We're doing it hopefully in a curated way where we're presenting the content that's going to be relevant for developers and not the stuff that's just going to kind of take up cycles and not really, you know, end up not being relevant to their everyday.
Well, and Andrew, and before you had joined the call, we were talking about how you can go to any of the tracks, right, throughout all the sessions. And one of the things as a data and AI specialist, mainly focusing on data platforms, I love being able to go over to these other sessions and learn because it's part of our everyday lives now. Forget the hype, right? The hype is out there. We know that's out there, but we need to learn these technologies. We need to at least be aware of them, how to protect them, and how to appropriately deploy them so that we're following best practices and we're protecting the folks that we're securing their data. So I love that we have these different tracks.
Totally. And I think it's good for our attendees too, because the overall justification of having a lot of sessions on, you know, hardcore .NET web development, but then also having the latitude to take in other stuff without it being like I'm going all the way to some destination geography just to learn about AI, which maybe to their boss would seem frivolous. We don't have that problem. So you can have, it's a little bit like going back to college, right? You can have a major, you can have a minor, and you know you can take it all within the same semester. I won't belabor the analogy further than that, but that is the idea.
One of my favorite things about the conference, and I've been coming to Live 360 since 2010, is just the exposure that I get to a completely different crowd. I've done a lot of things where I go over to SQL Bits or we go to the Past Summit or things of that nature. And one of the things that I love about Live 360 is every single year I'll see the same people coming back again because they know what a wonderful and what a great conference it is. But I often find myself in rooms where I have many more developers in there than I typically have. And I'll
Mhm.
find whole new people and whole new audiences that I get to interact with. I love that as a speaker, but I also love that from the point of view of being able to get exposed to those new and open ideas and also those opinions. People coming in and attending the sessions, they have different questions, they have different feedback. And it's overall just a wonderful, enriching perspective. There's great events. We kind of talked about this 2 weeks ago in our last live stream, but there's wonderful events that everybody gets to take a part of. Whether you're coming there just super interested in the artificial intelligence track or not, we've got the meet and greet with the speakers on Monday. There's the dine around that we've got that Monday night as well, where you can pair off with people, and we're at the beautiful Universal Studios. in downtown Orlando. You've got a host of wonderful restaurants there available to you as part of the resort area. Then also you have some of the best restaurants in the world that are just stones throw away over on Dr. Phillips. Restaurant Road down there just has some amazing, amazing places. So you've got wonderful places where you can go and you can collaborate with people. You can go and you can have a wonderful time sharing a meal and networking with new people. But then we've also got the events. We've got the different keynotes that we're going to have throughout the week, and we've got all these wonderful sessions. So the capability for people to come in and mix, and also to be able to come to this event and be able to take something away new. I feel it's wonderful. Birds of the Feather Luncheon on Wednesday, where you can sit with
Yep.
the speakers at their table, and you have their unfettered access to be able to ask as many questions as you'd like. All really great stuff. I and I'm gonna take us back over to the schedule real quick, and I just absolutely love. Let me do this for you so we can make the schedule a little bit bigger. So if I zoom in on here, we can see Brian Randall again. And how great is Brian? I absolutely, this is one of the places, the few places I go to where I get to see Brian every year. And Brian is wonderful. He's charismatic. He's super knowledgeable. I love it that we have him as this event. And he's got generative AI Copilot 101. So if you're not in his pre-con session, you can still get a taste of that wonderful information when we get to the main event on Tuesday and we start breaking down the individual sessions. And then right over here, we have Veronica presenting on responsible AI. And Tom, this is a topic you were talking about, and it is so front and center and
Mhm.
prevalent in this world. Responsible AI is basically, how are we going to use AI in a responsible manner? How are we going to protect people's data so that way things are exposed? How are we going to make sure that we've got our safety prompts in place to be able to prevent prompt engineering from exposing data that we don't want to be exposed? It's all of those things rolled into one to make sure that we understand how are we going to be responsible with this AI capabilities that we have. And those
And
things are just prevalent and key. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
Veronica's been sort of doing talks on this topic for a few years at this point. So I, I, I don't know. One of the things I'm proudest about with our conferences is that I think we start covering topics before they're cool. And we have
Yeah.
speakers who started covering them and we're really nerdy about them before they were cool. And now that they are cool, we still have those speakers there. So the rigor is there. I'm proud of that. We're one of the oldest developer conferences in the country, if not the world. I don't really know what the worldwide scene is, so I don't want to over promise here. But this conference dates all the way back to 1993,
Wow.
with its beginnings as a Visual Basic conference called VBITS. I started speaking at this conference in 1995, so I'm almost at my 30-year mark.
Wow.
And
Nice.
I mean, it's just, and the whole world has changed and changed again and changed again since that time. But some things are constant, right? We've always focused on enterprise developers who need to get their work done, right? And don't just want conference-driven development, as we tongue-in-cheek call it sometimes, right? They want to know stuff that's really going to be pragmatic. And they want to know the new stuff too, because they want to be marketable and competitive, but not just sort of, indulge in new stuff for its newness, but to be able to ground it
That
pragmatic.
needs to be on the polos, Andrew, in the future. Established, like the Tours t-shirts, established
Yeah.
1993.
I think one year we did have that actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's.
No,
I think.
it's
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say it's a phenomenal conference since it's been in Orlando, and I think the first year it was in Orlando was 2011. I've been speaking at it every single year, of course, with the one exception of 2020, which nobody spoke at anything that year. But that I was going to say, with the exception of that, I've been coming there for a while. I don't have a 30-year stretch by a long shot. Thank goodness 2010 is not 30 years old at this point, but it is just a wonderful conference, and it keeps me coming back every single year. I have said over and over again, I would be disappointed if I didn't go to certain conferences. I would be flat out miserable and sad if I wasn't at Live 360. It's just the event to be at. So on Wednesday, you've got a keynote happening. Mads Christensen is giving us a keynote, building lovable software for millions of users as part of the keynote that we have. And I believe that's the overall Live 360 big keynote that we have going on at 11 a.m. Right after that, so there is lunch, but one of the key things, and we kind of touched on this the other day, I think this is the best lunch at any conference I've ever been to before.
By far.
Hands down. And then after that, we've got a fast focused
Do,
craft intelligence.
do you
app
mean
building.
that because the speakers are there or because of the food?
No, I mean because of the food. I've
Okay.
tweeted out pictures of the food several times. There's typically a mozzarella burrata salad that they serve the first day, and I could just have that salad for all three courses. I love a good
The
mozzarella.
catering at the Royal Pacific is really good. They also do like an Italian wedding soup many years. It's delicious.
Oh yes, that is a fantastic soup. I absolutely love it. Now, moving off the food slightly, we've got a fast focus,
all right.
crafting intelligence foods, or crafting intelligent apps. Sorry, I'm still on the foods with Azure AI Studio. And then we've got another fast focus, navigating the world of AI models and .NET. And then we close out Monday with Prompt Engineering 101 for Azure OpenAI with Carrie Pitt. And let me zoom in a little bit here. And then we've also got extended building business applications with Wise J AI smart components.
What is that?
I don't know. I was going to say, clearly I need to attend this session because I have no idea what we're doing. So beyond the hype, AI offers significant value to business applications and enterprises. It's more than just chatbots and image generation, Tom. It is. It has practical applications across various industries. In this session, we will explore several real-world cases that demonstrate how AI can add value, and we will examine different AI-powered components and how they can be effectively utilized in projects. So, WiseJ.ai, smart components.
Again, we
I'm
have
not-
lots of elbow room to do lots of content. This is not like other cities where we have to pick like the top 3 AI sessions. We can really get down and dirty here.
I love it. Well, and then we have Langchan fundamentals, and we close off with the AI face-off, Azure OpenAI services in comparison. I love you know what? If there is a T-shirt available where he walks in with a Nick Cage and maybe a John Travolta, I think that'd be perfect. We need to see if we can use AI some way.
Yeah, so that's comparing Azure OpenAI with OpenAI vanilla. And their APIs are almost the same. Obviously, a lot of the functionality is the same. But if you're a Microsoft ecosystem developer, then there's going to be differences, and Prashant's going to cover that.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. And here we go. The specific bullet points. What are we going to be learning? A clear understanding of the distinct techniques and nuances between Azure OpenAI and OpenAI services.
There you go.
I just had to click the link and it tell me that right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, that evening, this is what we were talking about, the welcome conference reception, sponsored by Microsoft. And I know every single year, all the Microsoft speakers are there, but all the Trek speakers are there as well as the conference chairs. It's a wonderful time to be able to sit down and socialize with everyone.
I don't know. They have Plinko too.
Plinko.
They do have Plinko. I love a good Plinko.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a little over a minute left. Real quick, anything, Andrew, that you want to say to folks? If you have any questions about how to get to the event, make sure and look at our previous video. We cover the flights, we cover the buses, we cover Ubers, we cover all the different ways you can get there, things you need to know, restaurants in the surrounding area. But Andrew, let me hand it over to you. Give us one last plug for the event, because I know people aren't going to want to miss this.
I think the thing always to keep in mind with our shows is that we try and be very comprehensive in the content, but we also try and create an event that people don't get overwhelmed by, and where the speakers are very accessible. And it's actually part of their duties, if you will, not just to show up and do their sessions, but to make themselves accessible in the hallways for more kind of atmospheric Q&A time. And I think that's important at a developer conference. Not everybody's going to be comfortable raising their hand and asking a question in front of the whole audience. Maybe they think the question's not that smart. Maybe they're just not that extroverted. But no matter what it is, you should be able not just to be in listen mode as an attendee of a lecture, but be able to be interactive with the speakers. And we're proud of that.
I love it. That's absolutely brilliant, and that is a wonderful, wonderful point. There are people that I have met, specifically at Live 360, that I look forward to connecting with every single year that I go there. And there was a couple of years post pandemic where I didn't see everybody that I used to see, but last year I saw everybody that I had seen in years past, and it was wonderful to be able to connect with them again. Because it's over a decade now that I've been connecting with these people, and it's a wonderful chance to be able to do it. And you're right, the speakers are very accessible, and I hope people do that. That they come up to us if they're nervous, they ask their questions, and they make sure and take advantage of that FaceTime. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Tom. Did you have anything, or Dan, anything you wanted to add?
I had one quick thing. Give me 60 seconds if you could, please. We had the question last week from, I can't remember the individual, what to wear at Live 360. Shoes and shirt required. Everything else, no. I joke, but shoes and shirts are definitely required. I saw folks in shorts and a comfortable t-shirt. I saw folks in suits and ties. So it's whatever you feel most comfortable in for this great learning event. But shoes and shirts required.
Yeah, that was.
Check the weather, because even if it says
brilliant.
70 degrees, wherever you're coming from, it's all relative. But some days you're like, oh, it's gonna be like in the 70s today, but it can feel cool. And inside the rooms, it can be a little chilly as well. So wear shorts, but bring a sweater type thing. But usually the weather in Orlando in November is cooperative.
That's a great point. The air conditioning
rains a lot. Bring an umbrella.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No. You're absolutely right. These are all wonderful recommendations. And Tom, you're absolutely right, because I can't tell you the number of people that I hear that are inside and they find the conference rooms to be chilly and cold. But it's because I mean, in Florida, we've got those 100-degree temperatures out there right now, and it's to make it nice and cold in those situations. So when it gets a little bit cool, that AC is on overdrive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any questions, make sure to post them down in the comments and we will be sure to respond to them. And if there's something that needs a response from Andrew, I will make sure that we get that over to him. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today. Can't wait to see you at Live 360, my friend. Thank you again, Tom. And thank you, Dan. All right.
Everybody. All right.
You got it. Bye, everyone.